Hello, lovelies. Welcome to, or welcome back to, the dollhouse. I have a confession to make. I am not an influencer. I'm not. I try. And I try to keep you guys up on doing and stuff, and I don't know how people do this and do like a video every day. I have no idea. I don't know where you get just enough to talk about every day. I don't know. But I'm here, and hopefully can help you learn something, or we can learn something together, or I give you something to do if you're bored so you can sit here and watch me babble on. I do tend to babble. I do. So we were losing Crochet very badly. I tried to see the difference between the traditional figure 8 Afghan loom and the KB multi-loom, which is a small gauge loom as opposed to the traditional figure 8 Afghan loom. It has a bigger gauge and usually uses the fluffy blanket yarn, but I don't do any of the fluffy yarn. I don't like chenille yarn. I think it feels icky, which is, I can't amigurumi. I've tried. I have made 2 unintentional amigurumis. My first hat ended up being a fortune cookie. And I tried to make a tiger, but it kind of looks like a cat made by an 8-year-old. So, amigurumi is not my thing. I've kind of drifted to wearables, and because ADHD, this has beads in it. So not only do you get the textural of the beads, and you can also ASMR with the beads. That's fun. This is a lot easier than it looks like. I was terrified to try to do this. All you have to do is make sure that your crochet hook goes with your yarn, and your yarn and your hook together can both fit through the hole of the bead. It's finding the brand of bead with a consistent size opening. That's the hardest part. Okay, so the Afghans. I have not bordered or blocked either one of them. I still have to put a border on it, but I need some practice before I can call myself a loom knitter. The Afghan loom was not too bad. This is the purl side. This is the knit side. And it came out pretty good. This is granny square, soft white, violet, amethyst. And it came out pretty nice. I did have a couple slight problems. Mainly, you can see, if you look hard enough, see that straight line going down that's a little thicker than all the other knit lines? That's where the corners are. The corners are a little more spaced. Though I will say, it's easier to fix a mistake on a large gauge loom. It's easier to go back and unknit on a large gauge loom. But they tear up my knuckles. All of them that I've ever had pegs that had like a horizontal top on them. So you would have to lift your hook up and over the horizontal top, and that always killed my knuckles. So then I tried the small gauge loom, because the small gauge loom makes tighter knit, but the KB multi-loom has vertical tops on their pins, so you don't have that knuckle grinding. I did a little bit too tight of a cast off, so I'm gonna have to see if I can stretch that one out a little bit. But this is the KB multi-loom, and you can see how tight the knits are. You can't see through it like the other one. And both of these, I just used one strand of yarn. Just one strand of yarn at a time. Overall, I think the KB really works better if you're using just regular worsted weight yarn. If you can get past that knuckle busting thing on the Afghan loom is more forgiving. But I see they both have their uses. I'm going to have to play with the KB multi-knit loom, because you can make hats with it, and you can make it into a rectangle loom, or you could make it into a circle loom, or you could... So I haven't done anything on the looms except E-wraps, because that's what I can do. So that's what I do. I got a couple things in the works, because one can never have enough whips. Be nice. This is my first attempt at mesh. So I was going to make a shrug, and then I figured I am not the correct shape for a shrug, so I'm just making it into like a big mesh shirt. Also keep in mind that most yarns decrease by between, I think it's 4 and 10%. So I'm making it extra big because I like my clothes big anyway. We're gonna have to do something about this collar though. I'm not thrilled with the collar. But this is my half a sweater, half a shirt. I do like how the sleeves came out though. These are Karen funnel cakes. And I think that's coming out pretty nice. But this is a very... Mesh is a very exacting stitch, and it's not very forgiving. So I'm going to continue that when I am having a better brain function day, because today is not it. Yesterday I ended up doing granny squares because I needed something to do, and granny squares are like my go-to. I don't mess those up ever. So today I wanted to expand my brain a little bit. And this is so not close to done yet, but it looks much better if you stretch it out a little bit. Once it gets a little more weight to it, it'll have a little more drag, but if you stretch it out, you can see that each branch goes off into a cluster. Those are all supposed to be little crocuses. So I am making that. I love this yarn. The Premier Everyday Gradient. I love this yarn. I like the Lion Brand. The Lion Brand Gradient has its places, but the Lion Brand Gradient is very, very lofty. Whereas this is a very fine twist to it. It's almost a 4. It's almost a 3. It's somewhere in between the two. And it's got a very tight warp left. It's got a very tight twist to it. Now my first Crocus Shawl, I made an eggplant, which does not show up very good. It looks like it's brown, but it's not brown. It's eggplant, I swear it's not brown, but it very much looks like it's brown. But it is. If you can, no, it's still, you can kind of see the eggplant in the sun. That's from Fiber Spider. That is Fiber Spider's Crocus Shawl. And I love this pattern because, like the granny stitch, you can kind of set it and forget it because there's 3 repeating rows and it's just intuitive. You do single crochets in the clusters and you do clusters in the single crochets. So once you get the first couple rows down, then you can just go on autopilot. I want to go out and do the things and film the shopping and, you know, come with me to the craft sale, but I don't make craft sale stuff. Most of my stuff is either custom ordered or I end up just donating it. I started to do this to get extra pocket money, and then I got sick. And so I started to do this to have something to do, because there's only so much you can sit there and watch things on the internet. And it was something that you could always, you know, just grab and take to the hospital. And you always have something to do if you're sitting in the hospital, because it's boring in there. So I don't do enough stuff to take you guys with me. I don't do enough stuff. I don't live near anything cool. We don't have fiber festivals anywhere very local. We have big box stores. And the hoity-toity yarn shops in my area, I can't even afford to walk in there, because I walk in looking like this, and all of a sudden everybody thinks I'm stealing something. So it is what it is. Coffee. So I'm trying for you guys. I am trying. I'm trying to learn new things. I'm trying to show you how I learn new things. But I am such a nonfluencer. I just am. Yesterday, I sat down with 3 different skeins of yarn, and I said, okay, I am going to make a ripple blanket. I have never been able to make a ripple blanket. I am going to make a ripple blanket. I tried 7 times to make a ripple blanket, and all of them, by the time I got to row 7 or 8, I would notice that one side of my blanket was perfectly straight, while the other side went like this. Every time. No matter what kind of yarn I used, no matter what size hook I used, no matter what kind. I tried a wooden hook, I tried an aluminum hook, it's a ripple blanket. I tried 3 different patterns, and they're all repeating numbers. It's like, okay, 4 double crochets, 2 decreases, which is 4 double crochets, 4 double crochets, 2 increases, which is 4 double crochets. How can I mess up 4? I can count to 4. You can just go 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. I tried another one that was 6. I tried another one that was, it just, no, my brain won't do. My brain will not let me make that other edge straight because I do not count every stitch after every row because I am not a math kid. That's why I like intuitive patterns. Like, once you get a granny square started, then you can just go forever. Once you get a corner to corner started, you can just go forever. You don't have to count anything. Once you get the crocus thing going from Fiber Spider, you don't have to count anything. I have nothing against people that count their stitches. I find myself counting things when I'm stressed, but I just randomly start somewhere and randomly end somewhere. I'm not a counter. I'm not. And I don't know how to fix that. And I don't know if it's a brain thing. That's a whole nother can of worms right there. And we have new juice today. This is golden maple from the Pancake House. It tastes like pancakes. Thus the name. I like juices that have names like that. I don't like juices that are called weird things that I can't figure out what they are. It's nice that they have, you know, cutesy names, but I like things that tell me what they taste like. If you don't vape, it's not going to make sense to you. But vape companies come up with some weird names for juices. In case you don't know, this is my replacement for cigarettes. I smoked 2 packs a day for from the time I was 17. Oh God, I smoked way too long. So don't listen to the media. Vaping isn't bad for you. Vaping isn't horrible for you. It's not great for you. But breathing anything besides oxygen is bad for you. Breathing in the air in a polluted atmosphere is bad for you. So it's harm reduction. And I still get my nicotine, which makes me less stabby. Because I'm old and I'm cranky and I'm disabled and I will get stabby on you if you push me that far. I try not to be. But we all have our moments of stabbiness. Although beaded wraps are good for calming. I don't know. I would like to make a longer video, but I just don't have it in me today. I don't. I've been fighting with the FDA putting restrictions on pharmacies, and first it was you have to get all of your meds that are narcotics at one pharmacy, and then it was you had to get all your meds that are controlled and or narcotics at one pharmacy, and then it had to be if you're getting your controlled stuff at one pharmacy, you need to get everything else at that pharmacy. And now the FDA says if you can't take this type of med and this type of med together. And it's really frustrating when you've been on those 2 medications since 2011 and you haven't died. And then they tell you, well, you can either take the medication that makes your stomach function, or you can take your pain medication. But you can't have both. You see where I'm at a loss. So I try to use as much cannabis as I can for pain management. Because I can't get anything from the pharmacy now. Because I can't have NSAIDs. And my choice is down to Tylenol. I can take Tylenol for whatever pain I've got. And sometimes, like, I don't know, when you tear the cartilage on your hip, Tylenol just doesn't cut it. So I'm doing real life things that I don't want to do instead of making not really real life videos on YouTube. Because adulting. I've also learned that most of us Gen Xers have taught our children well, because Gen Xers, when we have a trauma, when we have something that has just completely and absolutely obliterated us, we smush it into a little ball until it's a just shiny little sphere of evil, and then we throw it down the stairs to the basement. And then you just don't think about it. Every once in a while it comes out of the basement, says hi, but you just crunch it up, throw it back in the basement. And then, when these millennials come around and go, oh, the economy's so bad. Oh, I have to go to work every day. Then you can just open your basement door and say, behold my wealth. As they stand there with their little hope stone of pain. Because that's how we deal with things. My basement's getting full. Yeah. Okay, so I am going to go caffeinate myself and try to make some more purple crocuses and figure out how to straighten out the edge on my loom knit blankets, because they're both a little wonky. So, the usual, leave me a comment, say hi. Thinking about doing an auction, because we're trying to get the car back on the road for my husband, who instead of walking 2 blocks to work, now has to drive 30 miles to work and 30 miles home, because they closed the shop. So we got to get his car back on the road. So I'm thinking about having an auction. I have an auction. Would you guys want to buy an auction? I have wraps and blankets, and let me know. Leave me a comment. Let me know if I'm like bonkers and that's a stupid idea and I'm just wasting time, or if you guys would actually, want to buy stuff I made. Because I have stuff. I just haven't packed up. Yeah. As always, be good. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Spread kindness like seeds, because it's free and the world needs more. Hit the bell and do the thumbs and leave me a note, because the world is on fire and we're all just trying to not be crispy. We're all just trying to not be crispy. Until next time, lovelies. Bye.